Good day, everyone. I'm happy to be moderating this panel today, so welcome to our panel. My name is Dr. Nkem Okeke. I am a physician executive by trade and the CEO and founder of Medical Links. Medical Links is a management consulting and health IT firm, and we link silos in the healthcare system by supporting healthcare payers and provider systems. As a physician executive, I've watched the evolution of women transitioning from hidden figures in biotechnology and science to being acknowledged and recognized for their accomplishments and their contributions. From Rosalind Franklin's crucial work on DNA structure to Ada Lovelace, who's often regarded as the world's first computer programmer. Women have always been at the cutting edge for generations. Some of you are joining us today, and you may not be as familiar with the field of biotech and science. So to level set, I'll share what the field of biotech and science comprise of. Biotechnology and science encompass a wide range of disciplines, including genetics, genomics, biochemistry, immunology, and more. The understanding of these fields continue to expand as new technologies and discoveries emerge. This drives innovation and improves our understanding of the natural world and its applications in various industries, including healthcare, agriculture, and environmental sustainability. Although we've come so far, the future of the role that women will continue to play in the field of biotech and science is more than a pipeline problem. For us, it's really more a systemic unconscious bias. With a nod to the women who have come before us, I am honored to be here today with some of today's leading women in the field of biotech and science. I want to welcome our panelists. First, Rakhi Agarwal. She is the Global Head of Supplier Diversity at Sanofi. Our next panelist is Poorna Srinivasan. She is a geologist in the Petroleum Systems Modeling Team at Aramco Americas. And our third panelist is Stephanie Oestrich. She is the Chief Business Officer at Galecto. Welcome, ladies. So our first question will be for you, Poorna. In your role as a woman in a leadership position in biotech and science, what has been some of the most significant challenges that you have faced? And more broadly, why are women so underrated in this field? And how can we change that?
Well, first, I want to thank WBC for inviting me to speak today. Now, Aramco is not a biotech company, but as an energy company, we're very committed to the discussions about women in STEM. We all know women entering STEM careers are vastly underrepresented. Like our peers in the energy sector, we're working very hard to advance diversity and inclusion in our workplace. And right now, I would say it's critical as we're going through an energy transition, which calls for low carbon solutions. Aramco is an international company and has 70,000 individuals from all around the world, including men and also women and from different cultures. I personally work in research and development, and female employees serve a variety of roles critical to our success, including engineers and scientists across our centers. So the need for diverse thinking to address hot topic issues like the energy transition is what will really bring more women into the STEM field and also into leadership positions as well.
Anyone else wants to chime in here? Rakhi, Stephanie?
My name is Stephanie Oestrich. I've actually recently taken a new position. I am the managing director of the Myeloma Investment Fund and very excited and grateful to speak here as well. I have been very fortunate in my career that I had a number of very luminary role models, female role models in STEM. I worked with Ada Lovelace, a Nobel Prize winner, who crystallized ribosomes at the Weizmann Institute in Israel. And this was just such a great experience because she worked on such a hard problem. And for such a long time, nobody believed that this would be possible, but she persevered and eventually got the crystallization to work and received the Nobel Prize. And The other one was Jennifer Doudna, another female Nobel Prize winner, who was actually a postdoc in the lab where I did my PhD. So I think it's very, very important for female budding scientists to have these types of female role models.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Speaking from my experience as well, I think biotech and science just sound rigorous. And somehow people assume it's too rigorous for women to participate in that field and succeed and lead, by the way. But at least you all being here just breaks that mold and say, no, that's not true. So I'm happy to hear your insights on that as well. So the second question I'll ask you, Rakhi. What are the things that you would consider a concern when it comes to commercialization? And why I asked that question is that there was a study out of MIT that found that despite making up a quarter of faculty, female faculty in the science and engineering departments participated in less than 10% of commercialization events between 2000 and 2020. So with having many venture-backed life science companies spinning out of universities, how can the industry help female faculty members drive commercialization? You're on mute. If you unmute yourself, Rakhi.
Yes, thank you. That would help. So hi, everyone. Again, thank you for having me here, and such a pleasure to be part of this panel and share our insights. And thank you, Dr. Okeke, for asking me that question. It's a very, very important question, and it's an indicator of two things in my mind. One is we as women, or women in workforce and STEM, women by nature, they don't give themselves enough credit. They are equally talented, equally smart, if not more. They do a whole lot of all these innovations, that we see them. And actually, Stephanie just mentioned Jennifer Doudna, right, who is the founder of this pioneering work in CRISPR technology, right, along with Emmanuel Carpentier. These two famous Nobel laureates are there as our role models, and they are example of what women can do. And there are many more that we don't know about, right? And that's because women themselves, they don't give credit to themselves. And sometimes they are even, when they do big things, they don't like to take credit. The humbleness is a trait that is inbuilt in females. So we need to break that mold, and we need to, along with everyone else, show what we do. But then, of course, the support is absolutely needed as well. So I think this problem, or the study that you just now highlighted from MIT, I think we as responsible citizens, women or men, no matter who we are, what we can do to make it easy or more equitable, environment that we live in, there are a few things that we can do. One is access to resources, right? We can make sure that the female scientists or faculties in our school, in our universities, are getting equal opportunity and access to those resources. They should be educated as to what is out there to create a program or start a startup from a university perspective based on the research that they're doing. Access to the labs, to the resources, access to the venture capitalist community out there that is looking to fund. And then also educate those venture capitalists to say, hey, it's okay to invest and bet on female entrepreneurs. Even if they're scientists, they're faculty, that's where most of these amazing, innovative organizations, they take birth, right? So the education is required both not only on the faculty side, on the university side, but also externally with the venture capitalists and the other investor community to say it's okay to have a bet on the women and the startup founded by women, right? Supporting them, giving them inclusive funding opportunities, giving them access to resources. And then also one more message that I want to give out is corporations themselves, they can make collaborative initiatives with those female scientists because every corporation has tons of innovation or some other contracts in terms of research and technology that they're working with universities and educational institutes, right? So they should seek those faculties out, the faculty members, and say, hey, we want to collaborate with you. How can we? Here are the resources. Put them in mentorship programs. Every corporates have mentorship programs for for female entrepreneurs and some other, depending on the research and the project they're working on. So there's a lot we can do, and I can probably talk a lot, but I'll stop here. And just say that there's so much we can do, including streamlining tech transfers, creating opportunities for funding and others. So.
Yeah, and the one thing I will add to what you said is also mentorship, because sometimes in our field, there's this thinking about being in academia versus being in business. And if you're talking about, female faculty leads, they just want to focus on the science of the work, right? So if you not start commercializing that, there's supposed to be some mentorship to help them feel it's okay. I can still be here and there, and also that would help.
I mean, a great example of entrepreneurship is Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, who founded Biocon, right? That's this amazing example. It can be done. It's being done.
Awesome.
Yeah, and much of it is really the understanding that if you really want your, let's say, your research to benefit patients, for instance, in the pharma industry, you have to commercialize it. So we all know that a lot of these great ideas originate in academia, but to really bring it through development, get it approved, and then distribute the drugs to patients, that is where industry really comes in. So having female leaders, again, who can also be a role model for the patients and for others who are commercializing the drugs is very, very important.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I definitely agree. So our third question, I will have you, Stephanie, jump in and answer this. In addition to working with organizations like WBC and having these types of conversations that we're having now, what do you believe the industry can do as a whole to promote greater inclusivity and bring more women into leadership roles, such as the one that you have?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's a very, very good question. There are now a lot of programs in industry to bring more women also to leadership positions, which is really a very admirable effort, and that's wonderful. But I think that it's still not enough. We have to continue doing so. And one of my my other examples and role models is actually from the political sphere, Angela Merkel, who used to be the German chancellor when I was growing up. And in the beginning, she was the first female chancellor. She's actually a physicist. And later on, young kids were actually asking, "Oh, can men be chancellor too?" So it was such a wonderful change that also provided this role model. But I think it is, really not just quota, but paying attention that there's really a 50-50 ratio of men and women in leadership positions, because that makes a difference. But also having cross-functional and even overarching initiatives. For instance, I am a task force member on the entrepreneurship task force of the W20, which is the official G20 women's organization. And that is these are the 20 largest economies. And there is, they just basically put together a resolution that was handed over to the G20, and that was adopted there to foster women entrepreneurship and for women giving access to capital, giving access to more leadership positions. So, and this is an international initiative. So more initiatives that are across countries and companies. Those are important initiatives that we should all participate in and also foster.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think what I like about WBC is that when you think about the different key initiatives that they champion, this kind of cuts across women in technology, women in the pipeline, as well as women entrepreneurs. So it's sort of, having organizations like WBC and their partners be very focused on how we can promote women so that they can keep advancing in the field of biotech and science.
add one more point here. I think recognition and celebration is extremely important, right, to inspire others. And I think partnering with organizations like WBC, we do that. WBC is great at doing that, right? Because the more you recognize women, the more you put them forward, you are actually, it's a trickle effect. You're inspiring so many more other women entrepreneurs out there to take up roles in STEM, to think about, how to create their impact from their efforts, right? So recognition and celebration is extremely important, which I think WBC does great job of that.
I mean,
Yeah, and I can jump in there also. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can jump in there also. If we want more women in leadership roles too, it's also about education, and we need to start at a younger age and teaching young girls that, they can be leaders one day. And a lot of energy corporations now are investing in these STEM programs because research shows that early exposure to STEM at the middle school level has a great impact on the decision to pursue a career in these fields, which would lead to women at higher positions. So it's not just us and Aramco, it's also the entire energy industry, it's the STEM industry. Putting more efforts into these types of programs will help young women to become leaders in the future.
Absolutely. So now I'm going to segue to the next question, which was for you, Poorna, which is, what is your experience and journey? And what would be advice to give to any woman who's beginning or starting their career in the industry that you're in now?
Sure. I've worked in the industry, government, and academia settings. So this has given me a really interesting perspective on careers in STEM for women. And I would recommend 3 things to any woman starting in the industry. One is to find a mentor. This has really benefited me and opened so many doors for me, and it ensured that I didn't get lost in my company. 2 is to join a professional organization to network and meet people. For example, the American Association of Petroleum Geologists, or AAPG, they have a women's network. And in fact, the former president of AAPG, Gretchen Gillis, she's a former geologist at Aramco. So there's just another example of having a female in a leadership position. And 3 is also to find ways to educate yourself further. As I mentioned before, education really is everything, and it's going to help women in the future. A lot of companies have programs to support higher education, and that's something that I'm also taking advantage of as now going through a PhD program. So having these different things and different aspects are all going to lead women into leadership positions.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. As a mother of 3 girls, what you're saying resonates, because we are constantly looking at what STEM programs are being offered to young girls and how can we spark their interest. It's sort of easy to be pulled by the shiny objects and entertainment, or, other fields of work. And that's fine if that's their calling, but it would be nice if they just get as equal exposure to the STEM opportunities and see, and nothing stops them from doing a couple of things. But I think just not allowing enough exposure would definitely make them make decisions that they would have otherwise not made. Anyone else?
And really having the really having the self-confidence. I'm always so saddened if I speak with other females who for some reason don't believe they can really make their dream come true and be a programmer or be a female physicist or be a female chemist. There's really the world is your oyster at this point. You have female astronauts, you have female Nobel Prize winners, and of course you have to work hard, you have to be smart, but it's definitely possible. So any woman, any girl who is dreaming of that, I really hope they have the courage and the self-confidence to pursue their dream.
Rakhi?
Yeah, I was just going to share a very quick story. So one day, my daughter, she is now 13, she came to me and she said, Mommy, she is a natural leader, so she takes control. So she came to me one day from school and she said, Mommy, someone told me that I am too bossy and I need to stop being bossy. And all I was doing was just taking the leadership because they were not doing what they were supposed to do. I told her, it doesn't matter what they say. It's about the perspective and the attitude that you have. You go and tell them tomorrow that you are not bossy, you're a leader, you're leading. And that completely changed her perspective. So it's how we see ourselves. If we ourselves don't believe in us, in ourselves, no one else will. So it's how we see, it's the perspective, it's the attitude that will help us persevere when we have setbacks, right? And setbacks can happen anytime. We just have to believe in ourselves.
So Rakhi, I will say your daughter is lucky. I think she has a model at home to look at, and that's how she showed up leading, right? So, and I do like the way you switch the terminologies, because sometimes we shy away from those words, aggressive, emotional, or bossy, and it's all this connotation, and all you're trying to do is lead and own your space, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and just share your passion. If you are passionate for something, people are really going to feel it, and that's how you can transmit the sharing of your passion.
Awesome. So let me ask this next question, and this is for all of you. What advice will you give to current biotech leaders to promote female leadership within their own organizations? I know you've mentioned a few things. Can you expand on that? Stephanie?
I can share, I can very quickly also share that I'm part of a number of different groups. I mentioned W20 also, but I'm also part of Women in Bio. I'm currently together with one of my friends organizing a webinar on AI and life sciences. So please stay tuned. It's going to start in the fall, and we will do this quarterly all of next year. I'm also on the board of the Harvard Kennedy School's Women's Network, and involved in a number of other initiatives. And it's a wonderful way, if you would like to change something or transmit something, to have some initiative and either be part of some groups or also start your own initiatives.
Yeah, and I would like to, very well said, Stephanie, thank you. My 2 cents that for corporations who want to, based on your question, Dr. Okiki, if they want to promote female entrepreneurship in biotech space, I would encourage organizations to create like incubators and accelerator program. And in that, they should make sure that they are they're assessing their talent and advancing the female leaders in the company, and giving them the opportunities to excel and take that and be brave to take that next step. Because most of the times, because female, workforce, they think that, oh, I won't be able to do this, or I don't have resources, or my management will not support it. If you put those fears at rest and tell them that, hey, we see talent in you, here you're in an accelerator program, or here there's an incubator program or a funding for the project that you're working on, bring it to us, we'll help you commercialize it, put a team around it, and see them flourish. It's going to completely change the whole landscape.
Well said, Rakhi. Poorna?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just for the young professionals as well. What I was saying earlier is we need to start younger. So not only protecting the early career people in our offices, but start younger, and we'll be able to flourish as women get older as well. Aramco supports STEM's Next Opportunity Fund's Million Girls Moonshot initiative. This is just one example of companies giving money to younger women so they can become leaders in the future. So I think if companies put more effort into programs like this, they'll help females from the beginning all the way up to their later careers.
I agree. Couldn't agree with you more. Now, the last question, we're going to do a deeper dive here, which is, do you think that men, and this is for all three of you, do you think that men have a role to play here? And can you share one example of a male role model that got you to where you are, and how future or current male allies can help to have more women be supported to succeed in biotech and science, whether they choose to do it in an academic setting, in research, and or as an entrepreneur?
I mean, I can go first, if that's okay. I absolutely believe there's a role that men have to play. And I also absolutely believe that women equally have a role to play, because you cannot be successful just by having men support you or just by having women support you, right? We live in a world where it's like car and you need both the wheels on both the sides. So we absolutely need the support of men as well as women. One example I can give is my husband. He's a full-time working professional, just same as me. And he absolutely supports in everything that I do, and I absolutely support him in everything he does. We even make doctor's appointment by making sure that our calendars are aligned to the point, because everything has to be in sync, right? So it's that kind of partnership you need. And this is just, I'm lucky that I have it at home. But even in the outside world, you need mentors or your leaders or your managers, whether they are men or women. They have to be invested in you and believe in you, because no matter which setting you are in, external support, mentorship, network, leadership support is absolutely important in everyone's success.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you just said. And, at the workplace, for me personally, my mentor was a man and my direct manager is a man. And while I did all the hard work to get me where I am, they also opened doors for me. So that is something so important for women, especially for young females, to have men who, if they are in power, even women who are in power, who can open doors for us. And so we can get to the next stage of life.
I couldn't agree more. It's definitely crucial to have men in your life as mentors who you trust. And I had some who helped me tremendously in my career. So definitely recommend that. But as women, I think we should also be conscious of the fact that there's so many women overachievers now, and so many women's group now that sometimes it's even a little bit hard for men to be successful, or to feel they can be on par with some of these successful women. So I think diversity and inclusion definitely goes both ways. So now when I'm putting together events, even if it's at the initiative of a women's initiative, I make sure that we have equal representation of women and men, because I firmly believe, we are both 50% of the population, and to make it simply normal to have the best from both genders equally represented on different organizations, that's really what makes a difference.
Totally.
I agree. And for me, it's my father. So my father was an engineer and double mastered engineer as well. And growing up, it was him, first of all, testing the theory of how well you did in math and statistics. And at the time, there's something called further math or add math, for those who remember that time, and physics and chemistry. And he tutored each of his kids, 6 of us, in that. And I think what he did was demystify the fear of dealing with complexities, or what people perceive as complexities. And now I have 3 siblings who are engineers, and 3 of us are physicians. And just to think through that experience, and now that I'm here, and just knowing that had he not paved the way for me, I would not be sitting here as a STEM leader. So it's good to know that your dad can do it, your husband can do it, your boss on the job can do it. And we moms also have a role. I love that analogy of a car with 2 wheels, and they both are needed to move the car forward. So with us wrapping up soon, any last words anyone wants to share in terms of what can parents or future parents, aunts, uncles think about, just one word of advice they can give to young girls out there to help them move towards this field of biotech and science?
Definitely to support your kids and those around you in pursuing their scientific dreams. Just to mention, my mother, she was the first in her village who actually graduated from high school. And just a generation later, I was able to graduate from university, to go international, to do that in science. And that was just one generation. And even if my parents were not scientists, they always encouraged me to pursue science.
Wow, that was amazing. And similarly, like, I come from a very conservative background, and I'm actually the first woman graduated from school and university from my household as well. And to think of it, it's just 30 years ago. So it's not too far away in the timeline if you think about it. But things are changing. So believe in your kids and show them the way.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. And most importantly, let your kids brag about themselves, because that's going to help so much in life. They need to not be timid, and they need to be able to express themselves completely, because that's going to help them go far.
Absolutely.
Thank you all. That's about all the time we have. Thank you so much to our esteemed panelists for being here. Thank you to WBC for hosting this. And we hope to see you at another panel in the future. Thank you.
And thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.